There we go.
Good evening, podcast world, and those folks out there listening to us live. Time for another episode of Things My Mother Never Told Me. Say hey to the folks, Brandis.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday. We're here. It's almost over. A few more hours in the day.
Right. Well, here we go again with another episode of this thing. We going to talk about some things we've been seeing in the news that we thought deserved a little bit of attention, at least from us anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time we talked to you about the draft night here in Detroit. And, that was cool. But now we're going to talk about some serious issues and hopefully some fun stuff too. We're going to let Brandis kick it off. She was looking at a little story that, I'll let Brandis tell it.
Sure thing. So it's 2023, right? Imagine you're on the job search, you're on LinkedIn Learning or LinkedIn, the hiring side of the platform, checking out job postings and job listings, and you come across one that says U.S. resident only, white only, do not share with candidates. So this happened in March of 2023. I think it was about 31 people who are on this class action suit for a company out of Virginia called Arthur Grand. Let me make sure. Yep, Arthur Grand Technologies Inc. Had a posting for a position, and it said exactly that. The candidate needed to be U.S. resident only, white only, and only U.S. born and whites only. And then in parentheses, it said, don't share with candidate, right? So for me, immediately, I'm like, oh, they just accidentally forgot to crop that out of the posting.
Right.
So this week they were kind of settled and met an agreement with the Department of Justice that they'll be fined a civil penalty of $7,500. In addition to that, $31,000 to the 31 people who complained about the posting. So doing the math, right, that's about $38,500 and comes out to $1,000 per person. Now, the terms of getting this $1,000 is that you're saying, hey, this company says that they are totally innocent. This was a one-time deal. They did no harm, no foul. And in the future, you could never sue them or come after them again to take this $1,000. So for me, I think they would have to keep their $1,000 just on the strength of like, no, you're not going to say you're innocent. Like that this $1,000 will not, for me, absolve you of any wrongdoing, right? You think about digging into it, start looking into the company. So they are a majority minority owned. Thank you. It's trying to minority beat me up just then. Small business, and they're federally funded and receive grant money from the U.S. government. So I think primarily that's why the DOJ jumped on it, outside of, the other things that they,
Right.
fail to offend.
Exactly.
But it's like, you get money from us for being, a small minority owned company, and you discriminating.
Right.
Based on race, national origin, and then some other protected characteristics.
For protected class. Well, the thing about it is even with them not being a small business, because that's like the minority business. That's the icing on the cake, because them posting that is illegal for anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
And they say no harm, no foul. But Brandis, I think I was thinking about it when you told me about that, and I'm probably take a little different take than you on it. I take their money because it said I couldn't sue them in the future.
Yeah.
So give me that grand, give me that G. I can pay a couple bills with it, and then I'm gonna put your nasty business out there in the streets.
Yep. Yeah, I go get another 31 people.
Yeah, unless of course it said that I couldn't that I couldn't spread the news. That might be one thing, but I'm telling everybody. How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah. So what it comes down to, kind of their fight in it is that it was a disgruntled employee who posted it to embarrass them, who since, of course, been terminated, was terminated immediately as soon as it was brought to their attention.
Right.
The CEO, did apologize and say, we apologize for any harm this incident caused, and we're committed to making meaningful changes to maintain the trust and confidence of our community and stakeholders, right? So for me, that's just a money grab. That's just a statement to say, please, the people we are hiring for, because they're a staffing company, any companies we are working with, don't leave us, please, because we don't want to take any further hits, in finances that this probably has already caused back in, March or around the time where this was all circulating on the internet. So,
well, it's always a disgruntled employee, isn't it? Every time, that sounds a lot like, although that's far worse than the story about the was it Walmart's, when the girl had the birthday cake done, and it said happy birthday, happy 21st birthday, her name, and then in parentheses on the bill it said in script, in uppercase script, and that's what they wrote on the cake. Happy birthday, happy 21st birthday, Melanie, whatever name is. And then in parentheses, it said uppercase script in parentheses, and it was on the cake. So that probably was the same employee.
It was like, oh, I'm not getting this, what this means.
Right. Because they
going
post,
all the way over their head.
Right. They post on social media. How do you put that on the cake?
How do you, and then put the lid on the cake and pass it to somebody?
Here you go. Wait, open up and look at it. Make sure it's just what you want.
That's exactly what you wanted, right?
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. And it's funny. I hadn't heard that story, and maybe we'll hear more about it in the upcoming, because that's illegal, first of all. And I think, but they settled the lawsuit though. So
yeah.
So. Yeah. And hopefully where they pay the money, because the story that I wanted to talk about was diversity, equity, and inclusion in nationwide that's being shot down across the country in various states. It was funny because just last year before last, we had several guests on the show that were in that area.
In that area, yeah, because that was 5-6 years ago, right? That was the big push that we're welcome. We want everybody here. We want everybody to feel a part. That's the claim to fame, right? For a lot of companies, was because they had this culture and this atmosphere that.
Exactly. But while you're doing it, no, just white people. While we want everybody in here, but we really only want white people in parentheses to come in here.
Yeah.
And I think that's that's part of the problem why we need initiatives like that, is because behind closed doors, the drama doesn't change and the narrative doesn't change. It's still the people on top, and they can say the employee, it was a disgruntled employee. You can say that all you want, but we know there are other places where that's still the mood of the day. Yeah. We're gonna say we want all of you, but we really don't. If you got a certain way,
pulled up a quick little thing about diversity, equity, inclusion back in 2023 February. They did a survey of employees. This is a Pew PEW researcher held this study, and 56% of people in the workforce said it's a good thing. 28% said it's neither good or bad, and then you had 16% people said that it's a bad thing. To make DEI a focus and a priority in the workplace.
We don't need to be.
Yeah, don't be doing that.
Well, the problem is, and I guess this is a segue into something else I want to talk about real briefly. The problem is that although they may say they want to diversify, but to them, diversification ultimately means what's the word? where they want you to become part of them, to be more like them. What is the word?
Simulate or something?
Assimilation. Yeah. Diversification means assimilation. Because they want people to look different, but they want
Yeah.
them to be the same. And you look at it across the country when minority, especially with young ladies, when minorities hang out with majority folks, ultimately they wind up talking like them, acting like them, and doing everything they do. And I think that's ultimately the goal in a lot of people when they say, well, we'll diversify only if it's only diversification in look, but not in feel.
Yeah, exactly that. 100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because don't come in here with them locks. What's this in your head?
Right.
I mean, that look good on a poster, right? When we put our pictures out there and say, this is our team. That okay, you look different, but don't really be them locks. Like don't be that person.
Right. Because I mean, how many people do you, I don't know, I mean, for your friends or people that you acquainted with that they got two voices.
Oh yeah.
They got one way they talk at work, another way they talk when they're at home. And it's so, like I say, when you talk about diversification to me does not mean that if I close my eyes, I can't tell if the person that's talking to me I can't tell what their race is by closing my eyes. And that's the environment that they want us to be in, especially when in a lot of cases that's not healthy for people to look like us. And so segueing, we were talking, I was reading an article and they were talking about Steph Curry and how he's trying to get more minorities involved heavily in golf.
Okay.
Because he made that donation to Howard's golf team. And in fact, they turned around and won the conference or something, first time ever. And they were talking about how when Tiger Woods came on the scene and he was doing what he was doing, everybody expected there to be a bunch of folks following him in the pro ranks. Now on the street level, there's a whole lot of black folks playing golf. Was playing golf before Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods is his physical ailments is making him get closer to his swan song. But it'll be plenty of them playing after he leaves because they just like the game. But when it comes to the professional level, you can count. I was reading the article. They was Steph Curry. They said you can count on one hand how many black golfers made it on the PGA tour. You can count on one hand. And when you talk about the collegiate level, you can count on two hands how many that are really making inroads into it. And so we were talking, me and Tanya were talking about the look of golf, and it's funny that even the ones that made it, look at them. I have yet to see, and if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. I have yet to see a black professional golfer with a black wife or a black girlfriend. Yet to see one. I've yet to see that type of thing. And so it's even when you listen to the way they talk, and I guess it's true that your vocabulary and your cadence of speaking, it tends to mirror the people that you spend the most time around.
Yeah.
But that ain't diversity.
No. And like exactly what you just said. And look, right? When I see, but beyond that, it doesn't feel much different.
Right. Well, and it's funny because like for the diversity thing in golf, when God, I can't think his name or see his face. Him and Tiger Woods had a rivalry going on years back. See his face and I can't call his name. Is he from Fiji? Was he Indian? But anyway, he's black. He's skin wise.
Okay.
And somebody, he was doing an interview and somebody said him being black, and he said, I'm not black. He said, I'm dark, but I'm this is what I am. And
Okay.
they had the little rivalry going on. So even to that, they make it very clear. That's not what I'm not that. I'm not that at all. And they seem to be comfortable with that because you see more people of God, what is he? Well, Indian, what they call Indian, Indian and was like Tony Finau. I think he is Hawaiian or Fijian, but you see more of them playing golf than you do African Americans. And even the ones that you do see, but like now Finau, his wife is whatever his native is, that she's of that to him. And it's funny, but African Americans, when we get in there, everything that we had before we got there changes. We're no longer, like I said, we no longer date, marry within our race. They always got a blonde on their arm. Tiger done had several of them. And they love him to death, of course, until he mistreats one of them, and then they can't stand his guts.
Mm.
But that's not diversity.
Yeah.
Not diversity at all. And so I'm gonna do a little commercial, and I guess some people listening to, they probably hate us, but and then we'll get back. We'll backtrack around to this whole HR situation. Friends of mine have an organization. They were on here a couple years ago, where we brought them on, and they talked about the organization Wishing Well program. They provide grief support and counseling to children and families of children with incarcerated parents, one or both of them. And so they raise funds to help these kids out, give them access to things they may not have access to because their parents aren't around and they're incarcerated. And so it's that time of year again. They're having another charity golf outing at the Links of Crystal Lake in Pontiac on Saturday, July 13th. And the registration information is $110 a person, deadline June 10th. And they want, as many people, they want to come in on board. Diane Martin is the president of the organization. Jim Bridgeforth is the event chair, and Gail Faulkner is the secretary. And if you're listening to this and you want to try to get involved, you can reach out at fg6350bt@gmail.com and get more information about registering or just making a donation to the cause. And the last thing I'll say about this is that the reason why they do a golf outing is because we were just talking about golf and some of the things about golf, but golf in and of itself which is why I said there are plenty of folks that were playing golf before Tiger Woods, black, and be playing golf with Tiger Woods, because it is a fun sport. It's just a hard sport. Make you mad sometimes playing the sport, but it's one of those things that if you have any competitive bone in your body, if you play golf a couple times, you'll probably become addicted to playing golf. And because most folks don't want to lose, whatever it is they're doing, they don't want to lose, and they don't want to lose to a game, and so people get addicted to playing golf. And as they always tell you, it teaches a lot of life lessons about sportsmanship and camaraderie and the whole thing. But one of the biggest things golf teaches you is don't quit. Because people can't understand how it's so hard to play when it doesn't appear to be that hard. But trust me, it ain't easy.
And I done seen them some shots where they hit par. Is it a 0 or a 1? Where they hitting it right in the hole from way back.
Hole in one.
Hole in one.
Or it depends on the hole you on.
Okay.
Hole in one on the par 3, or eagle, or albatross.
Within,
and depending on what par is, yeah. And that's the thing about the game. It's like many things we do in life is that you'll hit that one shot and it'll make you come back Because if you said, if I did it once, I can do it again. I played yesterday, parred the first hole. 2 through 17 was, I don't know what it was, but it was some good shots, a lot of bad shots. And then I parred 18 and I walked away feeling good.
All right.
Yeah, walked away feeling good. And we went out and played this morning, and we were going heads up with the couple we were playing against, heads up, and we get to the last hole. Tanya was putting real good. I was at best. And neither one of us putted good on that hole, and we lose that hole by 2 strokes, and that hole cost us at least splitting with us, splitting with them. That one hole.
Wow.
2, they parred the hole. We got what they call a double bogey. We got 2 shots over par on that one hole, but we were
right with it.
We were head to head.
To the hole.
Head to head. The first 8 holes head to head. It's like crazy, but that's the kind of.
Yeah.
And I'll be right back out there next time. Raring to go again. Yeah.
Right. You're not gonna quit. You're gonna be right back out there because
right
you
there.
know you could have did that. So I'm going back.
Well, I was doing it the whole 8 holes.
Yeah.
Get to the last hole and all of a sudden, I don't know what I'm doing out here. Why am I here? But yeah, but Wishing Well Development Incorporated. And
check them out.
Yeah, check them out. And if you don't remember the information I gave you on the it's fg6350bt@gmail.com. Or you can just reach out to me at drdixon33@gmail.com, and I'll hook you up with them if you want to get some more information or participate in the event. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. So back to the other thing we were talking about. the madness with these so-called HR professionals. It's amazing the stuff that we go through when we out here trying to, I don't know, just trying to make a better life for ourselves, I guess. Because you were telling me about this thing about these HR thing about I saw this article about on Phil Lewis's page about resumes and how they tell us how to make your resume stand out and make this beautiful template with your resume and don't just send a standard resume in there. Make your resume stand out. And he did a X post about how some HR professionals were saying that these unique resumes more often than not wind up in the trash before anybody ever sees them. Because they don't fit the standardized
formatting or whatever you call it.
Yeah. And so it gets flagged. Some of these borders, some of the fonts you use, lines, shapes, all that stuff. And they run it. It was saying that they use the ATS systems that don't accept certain characters, lines, shapes, etc. And so they may not ever get looked at if it can't get past that.
Yes. I was sharing that I have earlier this year was updating my resume for something I was submitting, and I kind of stumbled upon this information. I was like, oh wow, I'm out of touch. Okay, let me try to make my resume match these requested formats. And much like what you shared, I was reading a lot of that same information. Like, you might be awesome. You may have 20 years of experience in a field. But if you're using this outdated format of a resume and you're submitting it to, a lot of these new age companies with people my age who doing HR and running these background scenes, they using this, AI and all this stuff to help them make the job easier, of course.
Right.
So it's not scanning through a bunch of paper resumes on their desk. So I pay, I think maybe $10 or something to download like a couple formats to update my resume to have. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll check back in a year maybe to see if it's changed. Or 6 months probably might be better, because who knows what now has come along. So yeah, it's just amazing. I get it. Work smarter, not harder. But I think we were, on holiday talking about it too. We heard it so much back in the day. It's not about what you know, but who you know. And I think these days more than anything that's showing up, because I can't even get like a little find a part-time gig, and I'm submitting my resume all across Indeed and LinkedIn for simple stuff. Target rejecting me to stock some shelves. So
Did they give you a reason?
they said, I think Target might have said my qualities didn't align with what they were seeking. But I thought, if my resume even got in front of somebody, that they probably looked at it and went, "Oh, she's trying to come in here and take over," or move up or go into leadership. When I'm just trying to stock the shelves on the Saturdays,
Right.
Sunday nights,
Make a couple extra dollars.
I don't know. I'm not gonna be a problem. I'm gonna be here. I live across the street. I'm gonna be here at work. I'm just trying to get some money. So
Well,
again,
back in the day, they used to say you were too overqualified.
yeah. I don't think that's the language they use nowadays, but it
Right.
doesn't really doesn't align with whatever.
Yeah. With
But I'm like,
with the values of
so so either again, it went through that system and it just didn't get picked, and they put me on auto reply, and after it kicked it back or something, or somebody did see it and was just like, no, we okay.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
I
I know we use a system at work. I don't know if it's that intuitive and it's doing ATS type scanning for resumes and matches. I don't deal a lot in it a whole bunch. I know like my HR person will just send me the people and I'll look over their resumes myself. But I don't know if it's, knocking people out, or she's actually combing through a whole bucket of, resumes to get candidates. So
right. The whole job search thing is like crazy. And the internal promotion thing is crazier. I think I shared with you a while back that when I was working, they was trying to get me to apply for this management job, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. So eventually, I said, but they did a reorgan of the technical staff, and so I wound up doing stuff that was like way beneath my level, and it was like, but I was tethered to my desk. Whereas before I was like all out and about. So I said, okay, I'm gonna apply for the job. Apply for the job, got the job, no big deal. And then I went to do something else where I had to I had to update my my quote unquote resume, because it really wasn't a resume, but I had to update it. And so I went and looked at it and I said, wait a minute, this couldn't be what I submitted. So I was looking around, and that was the only information I had for a position. I couldn't believe that I submitted that, and worse than that I got selected for the position. It was horrible what I turned in. I mean, horrible. How did y'all select me for this position with this mess?
Because they knew of your work ethic and your work abilities more than they saw, of what they knew on that
Did they
paper.
even
Now,
read?
had you been a stranger, probably
Right. Oh,
not.
it had been a stranger, it'd been in the trash can. No doubt, it'd been in the trash can. But the fact that you would think they would look at this and say, "Oh God, we thought he was all this. He can't even do a simple application." You would have thought, because it was horrible. I wouldn't have hired me looking at that. I mean, I was like, in 4 sections, I was putting the same thing in there, to it. Saying just copy and put this over. It didn't answer the question, that kind of stuff. Like, get out of here.
You're rambling on. What you saying?
Right. Well, that should have told me I didn't really want it because I didn't want management. But they said, now you ain't getting out that easy. You submitted the application, so we're gonna hire you.
Get over here.
I'm looking over here and seeing a manual. What is that? What is the American? What is that? The writing thing where when you submit writing, it's got to. What is that?
ALA, AMA, ALA, all that. When you cite your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Format.
A manual writers is the. What is that? Because
MLA, APA. I done said every other letters together. MLA. Yeah.
APA, that's it. So yeah, I was trying to equate it to what we were talking about earlier. ATS, whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Right. That's what I was trying to equate it to that, but evidently that's not the same deal. So I don't know. All I know is the stuff that they say ain't really what they designed for the masses. I'll put it that way. Talking about golf, somebody posted this thing. When I was young, I sucked at golf, but now after years of dedication, practice, and coaching,
I still suck.
I'm no longer young.
Yeah, it's gonna be something.
Yeah, some change my age.
But it certainly wasn't
Right.
my game.
Oh, but here's the other thing. Was that all you had on the other stuff? That other stuff we were talking about? Did you have another topic?
No, I mean, I was just gonna bring up, the ever loving WNBA, and all the eyes are still watching. And I know there was a play going around this week with Alyssa Thomas, AT from the Connecticut Sun, and Angel Reese of Chicago Sky, and she, kind of got her around the neck and slammed her, and it was a whole lot of talk about it. And
Who did Angel Reese slammed her?
No.
Oh.
Alyssa Thomas
Okay,
got her in a play.
That makes more sense to me.
She ended up getting ejected. And people start saying, because she's engaged or maybe married to
and they said
Joanna Bonner, and they're like, "Oh, what's going on at home?"
Who's on the other team?
No, that was a different situation, little thing.
Okay.
But Alyssa Thomas and Joanna Bonner are actually on the same team for the Connecticut Sun.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know. I heard somebody talking about that where the one girl went after somebody on the other team, and her
she stopped.
Beyonce's girlfriend was on the team and she went after her teammate
and stopped her. Yeah. They were exes. Dejanay Carrington and Nalissa Smith. Yeah. But yeah, so I think a lot of people, are still trying to put the rookies against the vets and put them at odds. And, it's still all the Caitlin Clark chatter. And, and I think people think Caitlin Clark is just doing this horrible job. And to me, that just tells me you don't know that franchise fever. They've had the #1 overall pick for a few years in a row, or high picks, because their team is not great. That's why they keep getting, these picks. They're trying to build an organization. So you guys thought she was going to come in and just, I don't know what they thought she was going to do, but I think maybe won one game. So they might be
they
1-4 or something like that. Okay, 1-5.
They lost their first 4, won a game, and then lost the next game.
Lost another game. Okay, yeah. So she's still averaging, I think, about 17 points a game. I mean,
she scored 30 in her last game.
Yeah. So against what was that, Sparks maybe, or something?
The team that they beat.
Yeah.
They beat the Sparks, and they came back next time they lost to them. But yeah, that was
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think Angel Reese is doing great. Rakia Jackson out of Detroit, where she played at
Edison.
Yeah, Detroit Edison. Yep. She's doing really good. I think she actually started for the Sparks in the last game. She was coming off the bench, so her and Cameron Brink doing their thing. I mean, so overall, it's just an amazing, rookie class, and I think for the most part, the vets appreciate that. But like any other competitive sport, no, they're not going to be bowing to them and kissing their butt. Right. That's just the nature of any competitive sport. Like, oh my God, Caitlin Clark is in our league. Like, they not impressed by that, right? Granted, congratulations for all your accolades and all that stuff. And thank you for the eyes you are contributing to the sport. But again, you were playing 19, 20 and younger year old girls to them. And you coming in this league with 10, 14-year vets who have been around. Diana Taurasi, you not coming in here thinking you're going to dominate in our league. If you do, great, wonderful for you. But ain't nobody giving you that. Yeah. And they are really, as they should, I think, pushing their game further. The rookies and attention to the sport is bringing out, physicality in players that we haven't seen sometimes before or as often, right? So it's high level now for, I think, all around, and it's great. I just seen they were saying that now the Pistons are in talks possibly to do something with a team or try to get a franchise back here. They said they can't do the Shock because that already went to like the women's G League type of WBL.
Well, I know because San Antonio, they went to San Antonio and collapsed, and they went to Tulsa, and they done been all over the place. And so
me and Jazz was just talking about, they went to Tulsa first, I think, and then now officially they were the Dallas Wings. So that's where our banners are. And I'm like, dang, I didn't even think to look up and try to take a picture when I was just in Dallas, but that's where the banners are.
Then they go from Tulsa to San Antonio, and then the
Stars. Yep. Then the Wings. Yep. So, they can't have the Shock name, but I'm like, hey, we'll take whatever name y'all want to come up with. But I think that should be the 15th expansion team. I'll take it. Come on back to Detroit. I think there's a market here for it.
They were dominating when they was in.
For sure. So.
Right. Well, the beauty of it. What is her name? What is her name on ESPN? I can't think of her name. She was talking about how everybody, they hating on Caitlin Clark. Oh, they hate her. They can't. And she said, "What are y'all talking about? They just everything that you just said.
Yeah, they just
energy. We ain't gonna just bow down to you. We gonna kiss your ring and I know you gotta earn it."
Yeah.
But in the meantime, thank you for bringing eyes. It's just and not just her.
Others,
the past season, they had an excellent freshman class where they were coming in playing some excellent basketball.
And you think they got 4 or 5 years to play, right? But by the time they get to the league, they are going to be crazy too. Right. Like, so it's just only up from here. And I'm happy to see the excitement for the game again, Even I'm committed more now than I was 3-4 years ago. I would just pop in, pick my head in, like, who doing what? Okay. Oh, them still some names I know. Okay, cool. They still around and playing. So-and-so not playing no more, right? But yeah, so,
that's what it needed. It needed a shot in the arm, so to say.
Yep, to kick it into gear. And I hope it then, sparks interest from some investors, if not in more NBA players investing in teams or, committing.
They sure was investing in the college girls.
Yeah, that's true. I saw Drake was at the Toronto, announcement. So, hey, whatever
they said, who was that? Who was that? Only one team voted against it.
Oh, really? I ain't see it.
They said one team voted against it. I'm trying to remember who it was. But everybody else voted. I can't think of the one team was. One team voted against Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, come on now.
Yes, we up to 14. We'll take it.
Let's come money out there for everybody. Let's everybody get a piece of the pot. Because surely when they was in college, they was throwing their money at them. And speaking of that, you see the NIL thing has just totally flipped the NCAA on his head.
Oh yeah.
Because college now, the NCAA had to come to understand that they were going to have to pay these athletes, and so they came up with a couple $1 billion they put off the side where they're going to pay the athletes. But there's always a problem.
Oh yeah.
Who gonna get paid, and how much they're gonna get paid, and who ain't gonna get paid? Because basketball, football, those are the revenue generating sports. And
have been continue to be
right. And in basketball, in some colleges, the women's team generate revenue.
Yeah.
Not across the board, but it's a lot but there was more eyes on women's college basketball this past NCAA tournament than ever before.
Yeah.
So
actually data proves that.
Right. So you got to figure out an equitable way to distribute that money to these players.
Yeah.
And people want to be mad, but you can't be mad because for them to say we're gonna put 10 billion, whatever it was, in this pot, that tell you something. Because you're not about to give up the whole pot to the players.
No, you're not. So yeah, that means
no sport ever gives up the whole pot. They going from giving up nothing, and in fact, they had no choice but to acquiesce because they were going out of business. NCAA was going out of business if they didn't get on board. So bravo to the players, but just figure out like we was talking about with what's the thing? Reparations.
Mhm.
Just figure out how you do
How you gonna do it and do it
and,
appropriately
and
is
do it.
all we ask.
That's right. That's right. It gave everybody something.
Mhm.
At least treat the athletes like you treat somebody who's in school on an engineering scholarship.
Yeah.
They can go out and make money all day long, and it won't hurt their scholarship. So
Yeah.
let's do the same thing. So yeah, but yeah, that's good with the women's sports need to get as close to a level playing field as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because don't let the big wigs make all the money, and, and the small folks don't get nothing but a pat on the back and an attaboy or attagirl.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, I think we talked about it last year, and it's one of those topics that we're gonna talk about every year, I guess. The how do you put it? The suicide is crazy. You know, the numbers are continually going up for regular old people like you and I. But we hear more and more about these other folks who are in the public eye who are committing suicide. Last weekend, golfer. It was funny when I heard about him that he had dropped out of the tournament on Friday. He was one shot off the cut line. And for those that don't know, the cut line is the score that you have to have, the total scores you have to have in order to ensure you to play Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And I'll throw this in real quick. A lot of reasons why some of the professional golfers don't like live golf, that new Saudi thing. One of the reasons is that there is no cut. If you're in the tournament, you make it through the weekend.
It's in there and whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But in the PGA golf, if you play Thursday, Friday, if you don't make the cut, you get no check. You don't get paid for playing the weekend if you don't make the cut.
Wow.
Right. So this guy, he was one shot away from making the cut on Friday. He was on his 16th. He had just played his 16th hole of the day. Means he had 2 holes to go. All he had to do was make a par. I mean, not par, make a birdie or better on one of those 2 holes, and he was going to make the cut. He'd be playing on the weekend, another check. He told his playing partners he wasn't feeling good. He was feeling sick, and he dropped out the tournament right there with 2 holes left.
Wow.
He dropped out the tournament, said he wasn't feeling good. And so then the report comes out on Saturday that he had died, 30 years old. And then so that adds to it. And so I'm like, man, that sounds weird. And then when I heard his name, Grayson Murray, I said, Grayson Murray, I know that name.
Did see that name? Yeah.
I know that name. And so when I thought about it last year, either last year, year before last, Golf Digest magazine, one of those, they did a story on him, maybe a pod, but they did a story on him about how he was battling with depression and alcoholism. And he had came out and said that the PGA Tour wasn't supportive of his condition. So they weren't trying to help him get any help. And that's how the story came out. And so he wound up last year losing his tour card, having to drop off, and go to the minor league of golf and work his way back. And on that minor league tour, he had won twice, won 2 tournaments. And then he, in fact, won one of the PGA tournaments. And he got it, so he got his card back. As a rule, if you win a tournament, a professional tournament, you tend to going to make around $1 million for that tournament. That $1 million ain't gonna, it's not gonna be an earth shattering thing, but it's when you won some money. And when I heard his name, I told Tanya, I said, I think that guy committed suicide. I say that sounds like to me suicide because of his mental health,
Previous battles.
previous battles. And so then as they were talking about this tour put out a statement, golfers didn't know him, they were, saying tribute. And then his family came out and said that he had committed suicide.
Wow. 30
And
years.
and right. And so the thing about it is, the reason why I even bring it up again is that, well, I'll tell another story and you'll see how it ties together. So then a couple of days later, Stan Van Gundy, who used to be the Pistons coach and general manager. In fact, some attribute him with helping push them on this downward trajectory they on, because he was the coach and general manager.
Yeah.
So you can't complain about the players on the team because you put them on the team. And he was bringing on these ridiculous. He's the one that brought Mr. Jumping Over the Car Duncan. What's his name? Blake Griffin. He's the one that brought Blake Griffin here, and a couple other folks. And he saddled the Pistons with these ridiculous contracts that people would definitely. But anyway, and that's neither here nor there. So his wife had died last year. She was 60, 61. And so they at the story go, he was on this podcast, and they said they were saying that the cause of death was unexpected, is what they said. And so while he was on this podcast, he shared that she had committed suicide. And so this was just last November, I believe it was. She committed suicide. 61 years old. They had been together for, my God, since he's 64, 65, and they were together. I think they got married when he was 24. And they had been together since he was like 21. So that's a long time. And she committed suicide. So he knew she was having these battles, but her committing suicide still caught him off guard, and he kind of blames himself for it. So I say all that to say that it doesn't matter what your status in life is. It makes absolutely no difference. You figure a golfer who's won a couple tournaments, he's making a little bit of money. He looked like he's getting the help. Wife of a NBA, the guys in the NBA. Now he does TV commentate, for the NBA. He was a coach, a general manager, making all this money. So they got very comfortable lives. And you would think that maybe that makes a difference. But truth is, if you got demons, it makes no difference what your race is, what your financial status is. None of that makes any difference. If you can't fight those demons or the help that if you don't even try to get help.
That's all I'm gonna say. Half the time it's after the fact that people like, I know, right? Because you couldn't detect it, and they never said anything.
Never said anything.
Exhibited signs that were obvious.
Right. I don't know if you remember she was caster, was he newscaster, sportscaster for local Detroit, Fox 2 in Detroit. I think it was Fox 2. But anyway, one of the local stations. She was young. She was in her 20s, I imagine, or late 20s. She committed suicide. Jessica Starr. She had committed suicide. When they came on, they was talking about, oh, she passed away last night. But then, as they talk about it more, they came on and said she had committed suicide. And she had an issue with she had that the surgery. Eye surgery.
The LASIK, everybody was saying.
Right. They said people say that when you have something
linked to it,
their eyes, they have irritation with their eyes, and say she kept complaining about her eyes were bothering after the surgery. Her eyes were bothering her, and because it had to be more than just that. I don't think that by itself, I don't know, I'm not a specialist, but that by itself probably wouldn't cause somebody to kill themselves. There's got to be something else going on. And that's just the truth of the matter, is that something's going on. A lot of people never make that cry for help. Never make it. Some people make the cry for help, or somebody notices and they try to get them that help, and it doesn't catch, doesn't stick, if you will, and they still take their life. More and more young people, hearing about it all the time, taking their lives, being bullied, being whatever, and they're taking their lives. So it's I think easy to say, or to not stepping out on too far on the limb to say that it's at an epidemic level, people taking their own lives. And so I want to make sure I get that number right. It's 988, right? Is that the new suicide prevention line? I remember they came up with a simplified line.
Yeah.
As opposed to
yes.
Yeah.
Yep, 988.
Yep, 988. No matter where you are, 988. That's just like 911 for other emergencies. 988 is for suicide prevention line in and out. And
Call and text.
yeah, I don't know how many people are taking advantage of it, but don't stop. If you used it, keep using it if it's necessary. If you haven't used it, use it, because it's ridiculous the amount of people that are taking their lives, saying that I just can't do this no more. Because
yeah. Now, this is a report from April 8th, 2024, Psychiatric Times, saying according to new data from the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the suicide rate in the U.S. recently reached its highest peak since 1941.
41. See, that's a long time. And so, and nobody can say for sure what's the predominant cause of it, why,
Right.
but something ain't
It's
right.
happening. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, something ain't right, and it's affecting far too many people because they killing themselves for a lot of surface reasons. But I think part of the increase in it, the rapid increase in it is the way we treat people with mental illness. Or should I say,
stigma.
Don't treat them.
That part too.
Yeah. So, that's some stuff out there that needs to be looked at, and I think everybody needs to be aware. If somebody that you care about is going through something, don't let them suffer alone, because that's the easiest thing you can do, is don't let them suffer alone. And maybe your care and concern could be just the thing they need to not jump off the edge. So that's my 2 cents.
It's a good 2.
Yeah.
Solid 2.
Yeah. Got anything else, Brandis?
That's it for me.
Yeah.
988 if you need it. 988.
988. Put it on your refrigerator magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll be, we keep saying it, but we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. We trying to get it. We doing so much stuff like everybody else. We keeping ourselves busy. And not busy. We just keeping ourselves busy, and then when we in the down periods, letting stuff slide.
Yeah.
Maybe shouldn't slide. Yeah. So did I say it on here that if you watch Pawn Stars,
let them know. Let the people know.
Yeah, you watch Pawn Stars through America. I was able to get my nose in there when they came here to Detroit, and so I'm in the background. I didn't get to make any deals, but I'm in the background a couple episodes. So it's on the history. They come on the History Channel, but it also was on Hulu, right? Hulu. Yeah. So I got to show my face on there. So if you want an autograph, just let me know. I'll sign something.
Yeah, we clearly this is where it's at, because stars are being made.
Being made daily.
Daily. Things my mother never told me that I was gonna be.
Yeah. Rub the elbow with Chumley and Rick and the boys.
I don't know who those people are, but they sound like.
Yeah, that's them, the folks on there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. All right, Brandis. That's all I got for this weekend. Hey.
All right.
Summer's here. Well, not officially, but summer's here.
Yeah. After much complaining and crying. Well, take advantage. Be safe though.
But it wasn't fun, that bad. It wasn't that bad.
No, it hasn't been. I ain't gonna say never. It hasn't been in a while, but it just this leading up to these time. I don't even want it to jump to 80 degrees. I wish it just got to 65 a little quicker, and it could stay there forever if it wanted. I just hate anything under 65. And the darkness. When the time changes, then I start feeling better and things,
Hey,
that seasonal depression is real. And the older I get, I'm like, this what they be talking about. I'm
it's 8
sad.
o'clock and the sun is still out.
And look at that. I would have had to turn on a lamp in this room to keep the light
Exactly.
going.
Exactly. That's all we talking about.
That's it. That's all I want.
That's it. That's it. So, get out and play around the golf. Check out the wishing well if you can.
Yep.
Play around the golf. Keep an eye on your friends and neighbors. Keep we ain't gonna get into the other mess going on out here. We'll talk about that next week or the week after, because there's some other craziness going on out here too that needs to be addressed. It's an election year. Be prepared to get out and vote. Please get out and vote. I ain't gonna tell you who to vote for, but vote. If you listen to us, you already know.
Help me.
Hey, we up out of here.
See ya.
Where is it at? It's right here somewhere. Oh, there it is.